3, 2, 1. You know how George Lucas said, just like poetry, it rhymes? Well, in this movie, we have I am Galvatron. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Baycast.
This is Michael from Baycast.
And this is Jacob from Baycast. And today, we are going to talk about Transformers: Age of Extinction, directed by the one and only Michael Bay. This movie sucks donkey balls.
I know it's extremely easy to just say, oh, the Transformers movies are stupid, they're not very funny, they're too long, they're just messes of robots. Well, it looks like Michael Bay, after the first trilogy getting poor reception but extreme financial results, decided everything bad about the movies should be worse. This movie feels like Toy Story 4 in the sense that it's an unnecessary addendum, but it's also, unlike Toy Story 4, has no merit, has no value, has literally nothing to cling on
Absolutely
to.
Zero.
Besides the ongoing misery that its nearly 3-hour runtime wreaks upon watchers.
Yes, very much so. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually missed all the weird-ass bullshit from Transformers 2. I watched that like 3 times over watching this again.
That was one of the first things I'm going to say. All the first 3 movies, especially 2, is regarded. It's so dumb. It's like so immature. Oh, yeah, the racist robots. Like, that's stupid. That's something to talk about. It's like, wow, that's not particularly funny, and that's extremely racially offensive. Damn. But in this movie, everything is somehow offensive. Can I get there already? Can I go to that? Can I go
there already? Why don't? Okay, sure, why not?
There's a fucking 10-minute scene where this Irish American race car driver explains why it's okay that he has sex with Mark Wahlberg's daughter and that it's not statutory rape.
That is literally like one of the worst movie scenes in general I've ever seen. It was bad.
If you've heard of, like, I forgot the actual name of it. I tried blocking it out, but if you heard of the statutory rape scene in Transformers 4 and you're like, that sounds like horrible, it's beyond horrible.
It's not terrible.
It's Michael Bay has, as we've shown before, a knack for making individual scenes with some uncomfortable topic or humor, usually racial, but I guess that's part of his style, is being racist.
His style is being racist?
This is part of his style. I mean, look at almost every fucking movie we watched of his, besides maybe The Rock and
The Rock and
okay, I got the next one, the second one, but
The Island, maybe?
Island. Yeah, actually, The Island was better with that than usual. But bringing up, this is a movie about Transformers, the robots.
Yeah. And okay, before we get into that, I just want to say, okay, we all know how Michael Bay sexualizes his female characters, right? It's pretty much just a stereotype at this point.
It's part of his style.
But in this one, we don't just have a sexualized woman main character. We have a sexualized woman minor main character who's underage.
And that's also part of it. Part of as many parts of the problem with the Romeo and Juliet law. That's what it was. I remembered it. Is this whole discussion? If that scene wasn't in the movie and it was just like, oh, the daughter's 18, uncomfortable still, yes, but not like evil.
Yeah. Okay. To be fair, I know Michael Bay doesn't write his movies. This one has. Hold on, I've looked it up now. Aaron Kruger. He also co-wrote 2 and 3 apparently. But like, he chose to include this scene, and he fucking I don't even know how to describe it. It's just one of the worst scenes I've ever seen. That rhymes. It's so bad.
It rhymes. Like poetry.
Where do I even start? It's just.
This movie is like 3 hours long, so and also the plot is unnecessarily complicated.
It was one of these extremely complicated. I like halfway through, I was like, okay, there's like 3 main villains who all want different things. Actually, 4 actually, technically. But one of them kind of. But we'll get to that.
Okay, I guess. Well, I started counting. Silly me. But the third movie was dense with plot stuff, but I mean, not like it was brilliantly executed, but I think it was expressed clearly enough that you could follow along. Maybe kids would have a bit of trouble, but like, I don't know, anyone above
the main demographic of the movies.
Well, I mean, like I think the main demographic is 13 to 16-year-old boys, and I think in that age bracket, someone will be able to understand 3, but not 4. I remember watching this in the theater. That's the only time I've ever seen it. I've seen all these movies at least twice, except for this one. Well, now I have, but I didn't even
You
get on
ever
DVD.
see this movie
every single one
in like 8
DVD.
years?
Yeah, literally.
Wow.
Because I'm like, I watched it, and even as a kid who was like sucking up to these movies, I'm like, what the fuck happened? Why is it so long? Something. And then I went to Walmart, like, Dad, can I have some of the toys? I bought the toys, and even they took a plunge in quality. No paint, nothing. Piece of shit. Oh my god, it's every single aspect of this movie, from marketing, like the first trailer. I remember seeing that Super Bowl trailer and being confused, like, why is there a green man with parachutes? Like, that was part of the first teaser.
Who were these guys? This is a problem with like all the movies, but like they just keep like randomly introducing new Transformers to us and just expecting us to just follow along with that.
The thing is with this movie is it's a sequel, but it's almost, even though it's supposed to take place only a few years after 3.
I believe this is 5.
It has like 5. No, I think you're right, 5. Well, it's still not that long. It's like Force Awakens level, like extinct, like time. Like it makes it feel like the other movies came out fucking decades ago, when in real time it was 3 years, and in movie time it's 5 years. You see you meet Optimus Prime, and he looks vaguely like the original, and then you meet Bumblebee, and he looks vaguely normal, and then it's all these new characters that look like fucking Gundams or some shit. Like we were saying,
John Goodman, cigar smoking Transformer.
He's the best part of the movie because he hates everything and everyone and wants to kill, and I respect that.
Yeah, unlike Optimus Prime, who also wants to kill, but even more brutally.
We'll get to Optimus. We'll get to the characters. I think, honestly, as long as it's going to fucking take, best way to dissect this is go in story order, because there's so much inexplicable. Like the other movies, we went in plot order mostly. So you can get an idea and to go over the stuff that doesn't make sense, but nothing makes sense in this. So describing what happens is more important, I feel.
Yeah. I just have a couple of preambles before we start going to it.
Yeah, this is going to be an adventure, folks. Strap in.
So I just say, around the time this movie came out, I had a friend, and I remember I was at his house one time, and I was like, oh yeah, what's your favorite movie? And I expected, like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, whatever, whatever like 11-year-old kids like that at the time. And he was like, oh yeah, my favorite movie is the new Transformers movie, Age of Extinction. Yeah, it was like really good. I was like, oh really? And I was like, because like I was surprised because like even as an 11-year-old, I knew those movies weren't particularly good. I don't think I saw any of them. I think I saw the first one actually at around that time. But I digress. Like I was very surprised, and still am. I really hope that that's still not his favorite movie. But yeah, just know that it was at least one kid's favorite movie at the time. And also, but I just want to say, like, can we talk about like Michael Bay's process for this movie, or like going into this movie with so after 3, he said he was done making them, but for some reason, probably money. And also, because he said the movies were quote-unquote fun to make, he decided to make another one. Much to Spielberg, who executive produced all these movies, much to Spielberg's chagrin, who begged him not to make it.
Yeah, but, I saw it when the movies came out. And I've recently seen a lot of articles pop up. I get random Google alerts for shit I don't care about, but one of them was like, Steven Spielberg pleaded with Michael Bay to stop making Transformers movies. I know it's worded like that because article, gotta get clicks, but I believe that. Like I fucking 100% believe he was like crying, like, Michael, please.
I feel like the Transformers movie had brought out like Spielberg's like primal instinct, because remember like with 2. Yeah, remember 2 with like the big like destroyer robot at the end.
Oh yeah,
he was like, this is fucking awesome. Like,
but I think after 3, because I mean it's not a good trilogy, but it is a trilogy. I mean, it follows
one main character throughout his adolescence to adulthood.
Even though the third movie has a different love interest, and the resolution is that he loves her above all else, and the other love interest is discarded like a piece of fucking toast.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's more of a trilogy than the Star Wars sequels in terms of themes and characters. Let's say that.
I hate to say that's probably true. I mean, granted, I like probably all the prequels more than the Transformers movies, but it is a more coherent trilogy, I would say.
I like 1 through 3 a little bit more than like Attack of the Clones, but I like this worse than all of them.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
I guess so. That's fair.
But so he came back, and it wasn't even that long. It wasn't like Michael Bay went to do a fucking shit ton of movies. He made Pain and Gain, I'm guessing, in like a year's time.
Yeah.
Because it was like 2011 to 2012.
Yeah.
And this was about 2 years. So he must have, like, this is the kind of movie that, for better or for worse, definitely took like over a year to make. How much shit is in it.
Yeah.
So he must have really been like, I made a regular movie. It didn't make $800 billion. I need to go back.
It's not even like it failed. I think it made like 80 something million on $20 million budget.
Made almost $1 billion. This made over $1 billion.
Yeah. Where do you want to be? Want to just go in plot order?
Beginning. Yeah. Okay. Starts with the plot. You see an alien hand as it, I don't know, Halo reaching glasses a bunch of dinosaurs, and they're like, by that moment, you know this is something different. Because there's a weird fucking gross organic hand glassing dinosaurs. The first 3 movies, almost without a fail, began with some Optimus Prime monologue. Like, if this was like the first 3, you would begin with dinosaurs like having fun or whatever, playing. The opposite would be like life.
Yeah.
You know, like he was. But no, this movie begins with just something random, and I would say it's not technically unrelated, but it doesn't feel related either.
I mean it's unrelated for the first 2 hours of the movie.
The first 2 hours, the 2 hour and 45-minute movie.
Yeah. So I like how there's been a theme with the Transformers movies of rewriting history. So with the third movie, it was the moon landing, and with this, it was the extinction of the dinosaurs. So that was pretty fun.
The age of extinction. I thought that was, like, I don't know. That's the kind of stupid shit I can kind of vibe with, is killing, like, the idea of, well, it's not the Transformers kill the dinosaurs, it's the fucking Quintessons kill the dinosaurs.
Yeah, well, I didn't say that. I didn't say Transformers did. I just said, like, they rewrote history. Some alien race
the Transformers did this, but it's not. It's kind of spoiler, kind of not. Quintessons are the creator of the Transformers in the original continuity.
I assume that. I guess that was inferred in the movie. That was like the only thing I got. They weren't made by people.
Lockdown says that. I totally forgot that. Lockdown. No, I'm not going to do the line yet. I love the line. I love the line of bits, but I'm not doing it yet.
Okay.
But it starts with that, and then it goes. And surprisingly enough, it doesn't go from dinosaurs being glass to like someone's home life. I think it goes to Joshua Joyce and his inexplicable British sidekick, who reminded me a lot of the girl from the first movie, in that she wasn't given any screen time and no development, but was still there, still
very
blonde,
similar,
and still English.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, so we cut to that, and we saw the fucking Robo dinosaur that we won't see for another 2 hours.
The glass. Actually,
I love how like the entire like marketing. Sorry,
Jacob, you fool. You may have thought that the giant robot dinosaur you see in the beginning of the movie is the giant robot dinosaur at the end of the movie.
Oh, it's a different one.
You would be wrong. They can't even get that right.
Oh yeah, because one of them was in like the Arctic, and the other one was in China, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Like, even that first thing you've assumed that would make any amount of sense is immediately wrong.
Yeah, so it really doesn't set it up. It just sets up that dinosaurs exist, or Transformer dinosaurs exist. I like that the whole marketing of this movie was based around there being Transformers dinosaurs, but they only show up in the end of the climax of the movie. That's just great.
The climax of the movie is almost an hour and a half. They're
long.
in the movie for like
it's even longer than 3, and that went on forever.
And at least 3 had like stages to it. The climax of 4 just fucking meanders for ages.
Yep.
Age of Extinction. My brain cells went extinct watching the climax of this movie.
Yep. Oh god.
Then we go to our new series protagonist, Mark Wahlberg's Cade Yeager. Give it up to Michael Bay for making Mark Wahlberg play a character more amoral than Mark Wahlberg's character in Pain and Gain, who was a murderer.
Bravo on Michael Bay's part. Also, here's an interesting thing about this movie that I think I kind of like, but it's that they pretty much like Chicago from the last movie, like that event. They basically made like a 9/11-esque event where like, oh, remember Chicago and stuff like that, which makes sense.
That was most of the marketing besides the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because I think that was like the first like that. I think if I remember correctly, that was like the first like major event that made people know about the Transformers in this universe.
Actually, the third, but I mean, it's the biggest one.
Yeah, and after that,
it's the most public one.
Yes, and then like after that, the U.S. government, led by the impeccable Kelsey Grammer, decided to cut ties with them for I would say decently good reason. I'm not gonna like completely agree with him, but like his reasoning kind of makes sense. But like, yeah.
These latter two movies in this fucked up sub series, the villains are just, we have to kill the Autobots.
Yeah, then you have to kill them, but like,
we have to kill all Transformers. We have to kill the Autobots.
It's so bad. But we'll get to that soon. Let's talk about Cade Yeager.
It actually is fairly soon. We meet Cade Yeager, and we've already seen, we've had, especially Steve Buscemi in Armageddon, we called him like a Swiss Army protagonist, where he just had random skills that just popped up. Michael Bay kind of, he funneled that into, in a sense, he focused it into Cade, because Cade Yeager is this extraordinarily buff man who is like a football god who could like wrestle a fucking bear and kill it. But he's also a genius, quote unquote, inventor, quote unquote, who cares about his work, quote unquote, more than anything else besides his daughter.
Yeah, he's
a weird combination of fucking factors.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin with him, because he is, as you previously mentioned, he really is one of the most least likable and just flat out just racist protagonist.
Explicitly racist
in a modern movie.
The fifth movie, his second and like fifth lines are racist. Like, I remember that.
Oh, he's so bad. But then we're also introduced to his sidekick, TJ Miller, and when I saw that, I literally had to pause the movie for a few minutes just to process that he will be a major character.
I tried. I think if you go back to the episodes, I almost spoiled it a few times, but I held back. I think it was worth it. TJ Miller, one of the most fucking just passively hateable people in Hollywood, of course is the sidekick to the most unlikable character in cinema. And speaking of cinema, in like the other movies, we've already gone at length that they meander with Sam's life, whether school or job. But like, I don't know. It sets up a little thing. And at least in the third movie, it's kind of sort of paid off, because he's like, oh, I don't want to be here. I want to be Autobots. I want to be Autobots. In this movie, it shows him, honestly, the first part of this movie, between finding the giant dinosaur and before the first spoken line, looks really good. The non-action shots in this movie are actually surprisingly good looking, which makes it even sadder when everything else looks as bad, if not worse, as, 2, which is a very bad looking movie.
Some of the CGI in this movie is, well, we'll get to it with the Transformium, is abhorrent.
It's really shockingly bad.
Yeah.
The third movie wasn't the best. Like, I showed you the Megatron wheel clipping. Like, there's errors and stuff, but it never looked like, you never looked at like, oh. Like,
it looked like a passable Hollywood production.
Yeah. But, in fact, Cade, there's this whole scene where he sees some strange Southern man, and he has this hilarious meta commentary about sequels, reboots. And it's like, sequels, reboots, bunch of crap. This is a sequel.
I know, like Michael Bay thought he was being, he was being clever with it. I'm being self-aware, so it's okay. In my fucking $300 million stupid robot action movie,
3-hour movie.
Yeah,
but it's like, and then in that entire scene, the only purpose is that he finds a truck that ends up being Optimus Prime.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like literally 10 minutes of meandering. You think, Is it developing his character? Yeah, it's T.J. Miller's like, hey, you want to pay me or whatever? I know you have it. And then Mark's like, no, you don't. I don't pay you. You pay me. He's like, what? Like, how does he fucking get away with that?
Because he's awesome and he's Cade Yeager.
They spend time before he's even introduced doing what would the opposite of development be? Like they degrade his character. That's the first thing you do, is that you just see him become a worse person as you watch him in his first like on-screen moments.
Right.
Which is really impressive. Like Sam's not very likable. And by the third movie, he's comically unlikable. Like I think intentionally unlikable by 3. But there's like a person in there. I don't think Cade Yeager's a person. He's a force of fucking malice.
He's just a broad-shouldered, asshole, racist.
He's stupider than
other
the
bad adjectives. He's just the worst protagonist in cinematic history.
Robots, man. So he picks up his truck, and it's like, this is the trailer, like, Soy Man moment. Like, oh my god, Optimus Prime is a flat-nosed truck. Does that matter?
Not really, no.
No, exactly. It's like, it's cute. But he's a flat-nosed truck.
Yeah, they use the word cute very broadly.
I mean it sarcastically. Always. But you see it, and it's like, oh, he's a truck. He's like faded in like brown and rusty. So it's like, oh, it's been like 5 years. But if you look closely, and I only know because the toy had it, he still has the flames.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice the flames. Sorry about the loud door.
Really? You couldn't just give him the stupid white stripe. You had to go all the way. Like, you couldn't go all the way, I mean.
No, but like, it's awesome because it has flames. And that's like Michael Bay's version of awesome.
Well, I know, but they had the flames because they didn't want a red truck because it didn't appear on camera. Now he's a brown truck, and he still has flames. But then about that time, we meet his daughter, Tessa, played by bitch, whatever her name is.
I'll look it up.
Last Airbender.
Nicola Peltz.
Yeah, she's in The Last Airbender. She is Katara in that movie.
Oh, I didn't even know. Oh, that's a real double whammy.
It is a double. It's like 3 years apart, and 2 of the crappiest blockbusters ever made.
Yeah, they are 2 of the worst.
Literally.
Yeah.
But and then it begins with like Transformers 3 you're introduced to Carly with an ass shot because it's Michael Bay. You're introduced with Nicola Peltz's character with an ass shot, and it's like
an underage ass.
And then you learn that she's underage, and that scene it becomes even worse.
Yep.
Like we thought it.
Why couldn't I understand? Why couldn't they just make her 18? Like what? She's just senior. Yeah.
Exactly. There's no reason not, and the whole thing was like going to the prom.
To have that quote unquote funny scene with the Romeo and Juliet law. Like,
I don't think that was meant to. I legitimately don't think it was humorous. There wasn't like a pause.
Did you think that was like that was like a reshoot that they had to do so that it wouldn't be like creepy and I feel like
we already showed the ass of the 17-year-old girl, but that's kind of like 50% of her screen time. We got to make sure they know it's okay for this Irish guy to be railing her. Oh, just put this.
That's the guy from Midsommar. We'll
get to him. The guy from Midsommar. Yeah. Oh my god. he's not a good character either. Like
he's pretty bad.
Like in the first Transformers, Sam is pretty shitty, but like Michaela's okay, like a passable protagonist. But everyone in this sucks, like really hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, sorry, they see their relationship. It's like the mother died at some unknown age, a la like Disney movie. Like you can't have the mother; she would actually care for you. Ratio, normal stuff like that. And then Cade, you see his inventions, which is a robot that is supposed to bring beer that does not, a robot dog that does not move, and plenty of other things that do not work.
A robot that paints but does not.
But does not work.
Yeah.
So it's like supposed to be a failed inventor, and that is explicitly clear in this movie. Is also like Transformers 2 segmented into different parts. The first part, I guess, is the inventor shit because it's not really addressed again, surprisingly. But he's like, "Oh, I found this is a transformer. I think we just found a transformer." That's trailer line. He says that in the first trailer. If you didn't know, it's very funny. Mm-hmm. I'm an inventor. This could be a game changer for me. Also, a trailer line burned into the back of my fucking skull.
I have to say, the relationship that Cade has with his daughter is like probably one of the most generic and boring family dynamics in just like any movie ever. It's the exact shit you'd expect.
It's,
Like at
you
least
know
with
what
like Sam, like he was kind of like his family was kind of funny. Like his mom and dad were funny.
It was funny sometimes. You know what I would liken?
This movie's way more, or this movie's like way less comical in than the other three, but not in a good way. Because like obviously the jokes in those movies were pretty bad, but like this one like is just so self serious, at least for the most part.
There's parts where it tries to be humorous. We'll get to how those fail in
just so
spectacular fashion. But the Mark Wahlberg and daughter dynamic. Get ready to have your mind blown. Taken directly from Armageddon.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah.
And then,
you're right.
And then Ben Affleck is Jack Rayner's character.
Yep. The exact thing.
I figured that out when I was watching this. I'm like, oh shit.
It's you blow my mind. It's literally the exact same.
It is. It's like he literally is plagiarizing one of the worst parts of one of his worst movies for this new
even worse movie.
It's really impressive.
Yeah.
But so you get the quote unquote development, and she's like, "Why don't you just care for me, Dad?" And he's like, "I'm an inventor, okay? This could be a game changer for me." and then he wakes up. Optimus Prime wakes up, and you know that. Like, we had the points, like, Optimus Prime was like a psychopath. Optimus Prime loves killing people in those movies. It's like, that's kind of weird. This movie, his arc is learning to not hate people. They actually, like, wrote Optimus Prime being a fucking hateful, like, murderous bastard into this quote-unquote script.
Yeah.
Which is really, I mean, like, I almost commend it. They're like, oh, this guy's over the edge. We have to tone him back.
I mean, it's not like he doesn't kill people in this movie or for other Transformers.
The last thing he does is kill someone. But I'm just saying that was like his storyline is supposed to be that. It's clear that was intended to be the goal. Because his first thing he wakes up, I'll kill you. Where are the Autobots? I know that sounds more like Leonard Nimoy, but I don't care.
So if I remember correctly, like the shit that made Optimus become like going to hibernation happened off screen, right?
Off screen, and then it wasn't even the full 5 years either.
Yeah,
it was like 2 years after Chicago or something.
It's so weird.
It was Kelsey Grammer's the anti-Autobot Extinction Force attacked him and unnamed Autobots, killed them, and made him curl up into a ball in a theater. I don't really know how they even got there, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It is completely off screen, and it's confusing because there was some potential of showing that. Maybe have that be the intro of the movie. Optimus Prime and the Autobots going about their business. Boom! All of a sudden, they're fucking like just killed off. That would be a hell of a way to start this movie.
Yeah,
but no.
Literally every Autobot that we were introduced to in the last 3 movies are dead except for Optimus Prime.
Bumblebee, Optimus, and fucking Brains.
Oh right, Brains. I forgot it. Right. Yeah.
What a random. Like, okay, you're like, oh, where are the other Autobots? Because it's kind of like, oh, it's a reboot, so they have to be new characters, and you have to ask what happened to them, and it shows 2 of them die on screen.
On a screen, not actually shown in the movie.
Well, on a screen for one, on screen for the other.
Right.
But because to show the villain,
in the beginning,
they have him hunting down Ratchet and killing him.
If I remember correctly, what the fuck was that guy's name again? Well,
which one?
The bounty hunter.
Lockdown,
right? He was a reference to the original Megatron, right? Who turned to a gun.
No,
he turned to a gun here.
Lockdown. Okay, we talked about how the second and third movies take a lot of story attributes and characters from the original series. Not like they're done well. This movie takes a shocking amount of characters from the series Transformers Animated, which is very strange because I mean Transformers are obviously shows for kids. Animated was initially penned as like the kiddish show. It actually developed into something at least halfway decent, but it began with like Optimus Prime fighting like fucking human supervillains. Like that's the level of shit we're talking for that show. Lockdown was a bounty hunter who had a history with Ratchet and went across the galaxy hunting down trophies. That is what he does in this movie. But the thing about that character is he was I forget who fucking voices him, but it was like a notable guy, and it is very very smooth, very calm. Like, he's meant to be like he's threatening because he's so cool, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, he's just Optimus Prime. Like, it's very strange that they brought back the essence of the character so like Jetfire, literally Jetfire. He does the exact same stuff they did in his original outing, except now he's voiced by a fucking British man. Also, it's the same guy. If you didn't notice,
yeah, it's the same guy.
It's the same British guy who plays Jetfire in Lockdown. Because they hire anyone else? But
and why would you?
He gets the gun face. They just made it up.
Oh, they just made it up.
There's one literally blink and you'll miss it scene where Lockdown has a hook on his hand. Probably did miss it, I'm guessing. That was his signature thing in animated, was that he had a hook hand. It's in one scene for maybe 3 seconds.
Yeah, I think they were talking about. But
what a why?
Interesting.
The fucking fact his face as a gun gets more screen time. And it's not explained either. It's I'm gonna shoot you. Like, what?
I don't know. It's so weird.
The first thing is like you see Kelsey Grammer talking about, the age of the Transformer is over. It's like, yeah, I think Kelsey Grammer in this movie is enjoyably cheesy and stupid. I think he's fine.
I like how his introduction. I think it was I can't be for sure because it was in the dark. But he had all those Transformers playing cards out.
Yes, those were part of the marketing. He literally has cars with Autobots that are crossed out.
Why?
Because they're killing them.
I know they're killing them. But he's like, he throws the playing cards this is the Transformers.
The playing cards have individual Autobots on them. Which
I know. Why?
Because it's a cool way to quote unquote cool way to visualize that they're massacring these completely underdeveloped characters.
Okay, yeah.
But so you see him, and he's like, "I'm taking the Transformers." Like, I don't agree with them, but you can, you said, you can kind of see they kind of fucked up a lot of cities, ruining the planet, irreparably.
Yeah, I can kind of see it recently.
And then you bring in Lockdown, who's so they have the ideological threat and a physical threat. I think that's what the idea is supposed to be, because he's he's really powerful and crafty bounty hunter with all of his gadgets and shit. And then Kelsey Grammer, who is just a fucking dweeb, but he's evil. That's fine. But they're only the villains, the main villains, alone for the first half.
Yeah.
Or the first third. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell.
I should just say, I think this was right before Optimus Prime started to really show up, or started to become very prevalent. There was a really odd joke about slavery with Cade owning T.J. Miller's character.
That's what I was,
he was I'm pretty sure you can't do that anymore. Even in Texas, I was very taken aback by that, and with all I know these movies have so many offensive jokes. But a joke about one of the worst events or worst human conditions in the history of the United States, that would just it's fucked up. That's all I can say. That's
one-off line.
Yeah.
In this movie, with a one-off line, at least didn't get the same treatment as the Romeo and Juliet law. Would you pay money to see Michael Bay have a 5-minute scene where Mark Wahlberg and Jack Reynor talking about slavery?
No, I would not. No,
exactly. We got off easy.
No.
Easier than I guess we could have, but not as easy as any sane man would enact. So at that time, we've got lined up that T.J. Miller hears as a cash prize for bringing in Transformers. So he calls the government destruction force on Cade to kill Optimus or take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
So just a billion military men, and it's not actually Titus Welliver, I don't think. It's a man that I associate with him.
Who's Titus Welliver again?
He's the guy from Avatar.
Oh.
He reminds me of the villain from Avatar. But
okay.
he's a gray-haired white guy with a gun wearing sunglasses. Fucking hell. And then he appears Oh yeah, you have a warrant? My face is my warrant.
Yeah, that's such a good line.
It is kind of actually funny. It's just a. Oh, Titus Welliver was never an Avatar. This is Titus Welliver. Wow, I really fucked that one up. But
no, it's fine. No one remembers Avatar or this movie, so
I remembered a
it's
man
fine.
that looked a little bit like Titus Welliver in that movie. It was a guy from Don't Breathe, but
Stephen Lang, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he appears in this. Optimus Prime's hiding under a tarp, which is physically impossible because it shows that he's hiding underneath a platform in the tarp, which means that he's literally crouching 20 feet under Cade's basement, which is impossible. But logic we have to behold. It's like a whole strike force.
That's like the least of this movie's problems.
And then the guys are like pushing the daughter over wheelbarrows, punching Cade in the face for no reason because they're essentially policemen. And they're like, "Where's Optimus Prime?" And then Optimus Prime busts out of Cade's house, destroying half of it, firing his iconic shotgun. The shotgun is from the third movie. I was surprised.
Where did the shotgun come from? He didn't have that. Like, I don't think he had it throughout the.
When he had it in the last half of the third. Oh no! No, he did. He woke up and he had the shotgun because the first thing he does is points it at Cade and he hits T.J. Miller in the head with it.
Right.
So it's either like it's the iconic shotgun from Transformers 3, or maybe he stole Megatron's shotgun. I know the toy had Megatron's shotgun for some reason, so maybe it was that.
Okay.
But he breaks out, like, "I'm here, you wanted me, here I am." Breaking out, just blowing up Cade Yeager's house. They fire at least 15 missiles, nuking the place completely. So Cade Yeager just cannot live in his house anymore. He is now homeless. I mean, they're talking about how like there's asshole neighbors who really Cade is the asshole, but
who threatens to kill the people who want to buy his house because it's 6 months overdue.
He threw a baseball bat at them.
Yeah,
he didn't just threaten them; he actually threw it at them and almost hit them too. Which, knowing how powerful Cade Yeager is physically, probably would have killed them instantly. But so now it's on the run. Like, we can't live in this place. So it's weird because you hear whispers of the boyfriend of the daughter.
Right.
You see like a shitty like Zoom call, and then at the same moment that Optimus Prime breaks out and distracts I don't fucking know who these guys what they're even called. I know in the fifth movie there's an identical but different organization called the TRF. So I'm going to call them the TRF now. Even though it's the wrong movie.
I wouldn't be able to tell the difference anyway.
That's another 5 sucks too. But this guy appears in his souped up rally car and
literally like right in the nick of time for some reason.
Punches someone in the face with his tire. Like, drives over them, hits them with the wheel hard enough to knock their neck back, but not hard enough to evaporate them.
Yeah, like Fast and Furious car foo.
Literally, like actually Fast and Furious level shit.
I wish I was watching Fast and Furious or this BS.
I'm surprised there's not more of that stuff in these movies because their robots are into cars. Like,
true. I would pay money to see like I don't know how to describe it, like anthropomorphic cars like hitting and punching and kicking people with their wheels. That would be sick. But that doesn't really happen in these movies.
You get Bumblebee shooting people with his arm as a car in 5. Is that?
It's not the same.
It's not the same. I'm just trying to help. So this Jack Rayner's character, who fucking knows what his name is? We don't care. He's Jack Rayner's character or the Irish
Shane.
guy.
I didn't look it up, but
Shane!
I did write it down.
Is Shane. Yeah. I'm not calling him Shane. I'm calling him Jack Rayner's
We'll call him Jack Rayner.
So he picks them up, and then you have the scene where they're driving away from the obvious black souped up SUVs or rally cars or whatever. While Optimus Prime is like, it's not off screen, but it's so far away that it feels like an afterthought. You see Optimus fighting lockdown on like buildings. The focus is the car chase, and then the Transformers in the Transformers movie are
the Transformers are an afterthought. Which it's weird because it's a Transformers movie and you barely see the Transformers in this action sequence. But also the other thing is that generally like Michael Bay is like very good at car chases, as we've seen with Bad Boys 2, The Island, blah blah blah,
Rock.
But like this one was pretty bad in comparison, even though this one was very over the top, like Bad Boys 2 and stuff like that. But it was just way worse and way more poorly shot.
It's the worst. And then it's like, oh, you're reminded that, there's Transformers in this movie?
More than meets the eye.
I need to squint my fucking eyes to see Optimus putting lockdown in the building.
Yep.
But so they land at a warehouse, I think. This part is it's losing me. I'm forgetting what happens here. After this, I'm a little clearer. But I think they land in a warehouse and they're like, oh shit, we can't go somewhere. And then Lockdown appears, and he fucking blows up TJ Miller and walks away.
He's fucking evaporated. He's executed.
He doesn't get evaporated. He gets mummified. It's kind of gnarly, actually. Like, very shockingly violent. But I was cool, because we get to see TJ Miller get incinerated.
Yeah, I let out a big sigh of relief at that point, because we went to see him for the rest of the 2 hours of the movie.
And then Lockdown turns into his Lamborghini and drives off.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think bad scene, good ending to the episode.
I'm pretty sure this was a scene before this actually, but we have to mention this. We have to mention the best line in the movie when
I don't agree.
When Lockdown is talking to Kelsey Grammer's character.
That's right after.
Grammer says,
that's right after.
Why he's like working with him. He's like, oh, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And Lockdown says the best line in probably the entirety of cinema.
Let me do it. I got this.
Yeah.
We have a saying as humans: the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Well, I also have a saying. I don't care.
It's so good. that brought me back into the movie.
There's very few moments where I feel like I want to continue watching this, but that made me want to, because it's like it's weird because like the cartoonishly evil Kelsey Grammer is being like kind of reasonable. He's bargaining with this guy, and then he's like, don't care, didn't ask.
Plus you're a human.
It's like, why is he like this? Isn't he supposed to be the professional in this situation? Because he's like a actual legit bounty hunter. He's captured. He's captured monsters from fucking hundreds of galaxies. He's been doing this for a while, I assume. Kelsey Grammer probably just met this guy. He's like, hey, can you help us, Mr. Sir? Which also, why the fuck? Why the actual fuck is he like, we have to kill the Transformers? And he's like, oh, a Transformer, he'll help us.
Yeah. The enemy, my friend. Like, literally, they use the most like basic line to describe his actions.
There could have, I'm not, once again, this isn't the kind of movie where this would happen, but if there's a movie that was written, I'm not going to say by people, say it was written, then you could have Kelsey Grammer's character feel guilty, like, if I take care of the Autobots, then these guys are here. Will they be like, will Lockdown follow the path of Decepticons and Conquest? Have him mull it over a bit, besides ignoring his hypocrisy. No, you're right. And then...
let's see, where were we?
We're right after the chase. So TJ Miller gets evaporated, and that's when Lockdown goes to meet with Kelsey Grammer, I believe. I think that's... Maybe. It was either before that or after that. It was roughly in that period.
Yeah.
So then Optimus Prime just takes them to like gas stations, and you get one of the like 3 transformations in the movie.
Yeah, there were not many, and they weren't that great either.
He turns from like a robot to a truck, and it looks good, and it's like, wow, that looks good, and then you don't see it again. Yeah,
well, because they're like the first movie, like the transformations were like a big part of it, and they looked good in 2007. That was 2014, and they have different types of transformation in this movie, but we'll get to that.
Mostly the last half, but
yeah,
you don't even see the Autobot. You don't see the Autobots transform because it's physically impossible for them to turn into what they turn into.
Yeah,
like about this time we meet the Autobots, the rest of the Autobots.
Right,
there's just like 5 of them alive, even though the rest of them are executed. And I will say, one of my favorite tracks in the series is the track that plays when the Autobots are meeting. It's really good.
Every time the Autobots meet in these movies, you get like the most like epic score by Steve Jablonsky.
And it isn't. Yeah. This movie has a completely. I don't think a single track is reused. It's a completely different score.
Good for him, I guess, for making a completely new score to it.
In the other movies, it would probably be Arrival to Earth again. But now I think it's called like just like Autobots Reunite or something. Mm-hmm. It's a really, I would say in some ways surpasses some of the other tracks. It's not as operatic or orchestral, but it's triumphant. which I guess is what you're supposed to be feeling when you see other Autobots. Then you're like, who the fuck are these people? Like, if you saw, like, I'm not saying they even really had characters in the first, like, if you saw, like, I don't know, Sideswipe, Dino, it's like, oh, I've seen these guys. No.
We have Samurai Transformer, cigar smoking Transformer, and green Transformer.
Let's go into the characters, because you see a bunch of different vehicles. You see a black car. It's like, oh, a black car. That's for a Decepticon. You see a green car. Oh, shit. A green car. the only green guy was Ratchet, and he was only green for 1 1/3 movies before he had his fucking heart ripped out in this one. But
sad.
You see this jolly man who's for a second you know it's John Goodman. Like, yeah, hell yeah! It's like, oh shit, that's him. If you didn't already know, you see a very obvious like samurai parody, and he turns into a helicopter. And when I first saw this, I'm like, the Autobots are turning into things that fly. It's like, holy shit. They finally learned.
Yeah, a little bit too late, but they finally learned. Also, that samurai is voiced by the impeccable Ken Watanabe. I don't know why he decided to be in this movie, but I thought I might as well mention that.
The voice cast for the Autobots, I would say, is even more notable than most of the other ones, because you have Peter Cullen, John Goodman, Ken Watanabe, and then like the most prolific, but John DiMaggio properly voicing a character in a feature film, which he usually isn't.
Interesting.
He's the Green Man.
I didn't know that.
He has like 2 voices, Bender and Australian. This is the Australian voice.
Interesting. Also, this is going like a bit later into the movie, but we have Frank Welker voicing.
Frank returns. We'll not say how or why, but Frank Welker is in this movie again.
We'll get to that.
Being in all 3, just almost totally random characters. He's a Soundwave, Frenzy, some other fucking dudes probably. But Frank Welker does make his official declarative return as one of the like 8 villains in this movie. So let's go to Autobots, because there's a thing that I like on paper, but obviously hate in practice. After you get past this is like a third of the way in the movie. There's already been enough pandering bullshit. Then you meet the Autobots, which, I mean, it happens halfway into the first movie. So I'm not saying pacing-wise it's that much worse. You meet them, and they're there the whole movie. They say things.
Yeah, they are there the whole movie, which I have to give them credit for.
They attempt to make them characters. I heard when this movie came out, quote-unquote defenders, I'm using a lot of quotes because I can't talk about this movie seriously.
Quote-unquote.
Yeah. It was like, there's more Transformers in this movie. I don't know about that, but at least the characters that are there, at least the Autobots that are there, have more definition, which instead of being literally no personality, it's now Michael Bay stereotype personalities. So is it an improvement? I don't know, but it is something. You get to know the Autobots, and one thing I actually did find interesting is that, like, interesting, is that they all hate each other. They're just a bunch of assholes that despise the planet. But like, they're literally being hunted down for no reason. I would be pissed too.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention. I don't think we mentioned this yet. Where they replaced Optimus Prime's windows in this movie with just like with breasts or something.
That's exactly the scene. You see him as the truck, and it's like, oh, he's gonna become. It's like the first movie, and past him drives like a white truck. And I'm like, yo, it's not like other movies when they just scan the exact vehicle they are. It's actually a vehicle that could exist. And then you see it changing, by the way, most obvious on-screen camera crew I've ever seen in any movie. If you look at Optimus's grill, super clearly you see a camera truck.
Oh, okay. I'll look out for that next time I watch this, which will be never.
You can just like look at the clip, because I think that scene's fine, but it's like ridiculously obvious. Like, I don't even know how it got past anything obvious. But so he turns into a truck, and he's like, oh, he's a blue truck with red stripes. Wait, wasn't he a red truck with blue stripes? And then you see he has 6 smokestacks, and he's like 3 trucks tall. It's like, you see, in the first movie he was a flaming truck that wasn't cool enough. We made him a flat nose because that's what the fans want. Now he's even cooler. He transforms, and it's like, oh, what's he look like? He's just a man.
Yeah,
he has like muscles. He has like armor. What the fuck is this? He doesn't even have the windows. That's what I was saying.
He's just a metal man.
That's like the one. All the characters in the movie are just metal people. There's like no. The only character who has any fucking discernible car parts is Bumblebee.
Right.
Because they literally pasted a different car's parts on the pre-existing model and painted black.
I said this once. I'll say it again. I hate the metal hair that some of the Transformers have with like John Goodman's character.
And it gets worse. Obviously, John Goodman has a beard. He has the belly like the character Leadfoot. Leadfoot dies in this movie. You see it happen on a screen, not just on screen. So they kill an ugly character with a beard and a beer belly to replace him with an ugly character with a beard and a beer belly. Mm-hmm. Great work. And then I think Drift has like a goatee. I could be mistaken.
I think he might.
Their face. They're just way too human. They look like literally people. Mm-hmm. And like if you look at like Ironhide or Sideswipe, they're kind of fucking shitty designs, but at least they're definably alien. These are just like I said, metal men. You look at Bumblebee, and it's like Bumblebee's design has never been good, but it's the best thing it's the best design in the movie because it's like a transformer.
Yeah,
it's really sad. So yeah,
they made Bumblebee very sassy in this movie, even more so than the last three.
They didn't just make him. They didn't make him sassy. They made him a child.
Yeah,
because everyone's sassy. They felt, Bumblebee is, he's kind of sassy. It's just the Sam, but he's not mean-spirited. He is a fucking petulant baby in this movie. He's the Kid Appeal character. We have to make him a kid, which backfires. And, like, a character that the movies time and time again tried to convince us was, like, the heart of the series. I feel like he was character assassinated when he had no character.
A little bit, yeah. Honestly, I did quite enjoy his I did quite enjoy his design a little bit when he was a different car and he had like the black highlights and stuff.
Yeah, it's good. Like,
and then they got rid of it because they found the exact same yellow Chevrolet.
Yeah, an unreleased, like completely unreleased Chevy.
Oh, it's like an ad for a new Chevy.
It's like a prototype.
Oh, okay.
In all the other in the first and second movies, he's real car. Actually, in the first movie, he's a real car. The other two movies, he was like a variant. The second one was a slight modification. Third one was like a rally version. In this movie, it's a car they fucking made up. Pretty much. And in the fifth movie, he's a real car again.
Interesting.
So he doesn't. I say it's like funny to me that he keeps changing cars because he keeps changing into cars that don't exist. But in this movie, like you start, he's like a 90, he's like a 77 black Camaro, and that is another weird like reference because in one of the shows at the time, he just became black and yellow instead of yellow and black. So I guess they did that to like tie into it. I don't know. It looks better than the other characters, and I'm pleased. But then they discarded halfway through for like the ugliest fucking design ever.
Yep. Man.
It's like this movie just likes taking anything that was good about the other movies and just shitting on it further. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm defending the other movies that much, but they were not treated well by this.
Nope. Not at all.
So, Bumblebee's like a petulant bitch. Optimus Prime is angry at everyone. He hates humanity. He wants to leave, which, again, respect. But John Goodman's character is American. And I think his, like, constant seething anger is the most justified because he just seems like a dick. But
I feel like the whole explanation from the first movie about how they learned the language from the World Wide Web is getting a bit weaker now with all these like stereotypical
or
American
maybe it's
characters.
Getting stronger.
Or maybe
they're
it is.
only stereotypes.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Look at Optimus Prime before going into hibernation go, Crosshairs, Drift, I need you to look at this webpage. We don't have much time. It's at the Wikipedia page for Samurai. like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah.
The Drift is like, I think, okay, the twins are obviously legendarily bad. I think Drift nears being as bad as the twins, and people don't talk about him.
I didn't really see that many like outright
like racist.
I guess it's not as painful to watch, but it's like as cliche, I think.
Yeah, well, obviously the whole like Japanese samurai thing is very, very
but
cliche.
He only talks about Zen. He only talks about the way of the warrior.
Yeah.
Even though he's as annoyed at everyone as everyone else is, so it's like that. Why is that even in? Is like, is it supposed to be like, oh, it's a facade of Zen? Like, I don't know. You're not doing that. You're not developing that shit. Obviously, Crosshair is the most consistently irritable, so he's my favorite. He sees the humans like, what are you fucking meatbags doing here? I'm like, yeah, go off, King. Like this, he's awesome. Crosshair is the best character in these last two movies because he hates the movies as much as we do. Yeah, he's
like Robert Pattinson in Twilight.
Yeah, I mean, John DiMaggio, the vocal performances at least are good, but the characters still suck. So they all meet up, and then they're like, what do we do? Oh, crap. We need to figure out what the plot is, because they don't know.
This is where I begin to like really, really lose interest in the movie.
Yeah, once they introduce, I think it's two separate MacGuffins.
Yeah.
There's or is it one? It feels like it's more than one. The main thing is the seed. Okay?
Right.
Go over this part of it. Kelsey Grammer makes a deal with Lockdown, where Lockdown will take care of the Autobots. Or actually, his job is to take care of Optimus Prime. He's not even that helpful. But he can take this seed device, just to give it to them, so they can make, because this seed creates the metal the Transformers are made of, which is dubbed Transformium.
I think the name is really funny. Transformium.
Everyone dicks on that. I think that and Unobtainium are both pretty funny names. I just think Transformium as a plot element in this movie is fucking ridiculous. Because it ruins really the Transformer part of Transformers. So before we get into Joshua Joyce and his fucking ridiculous plot, like, the movie would suck if Joshua Joyce wasn't in it, but it sucks even more that he is.
Yeah.
But just briefly doing that part of the plot, the seed will be used to detonate in the Mongolia desert to create metal without killing things, so they can make Transformers that they can control to kill the Autobots. Using Lockdown to get Optimus Prime will help them weaken the Autobots or like whatever, like just piss them off or whatever. But the humans want to be the ones who destroy the Transformers with their own Transformers. Not the stupidest idea. They'd be like, oh, there's Transformer remains fucking everywhere. Let's reverse engineer them. Yeah, that makes sense. That was one of the like two things they carried over from 3. Like two ideas that are like that 3 allows them to do, I guess. Not even like taken from the movie, but like as a result of this, about Chicago being a Transformer graveyard, pretty much. Taking their parts and making their own is a fair enough idea. They do that in plenty of series. The original series, Prime, I think even animated. They just do it. But the thing is, Lockdown's giving them the seed, which he just has, because Lockdown has whatever the plot needs. And then once the seed is going from Kelsey Grammer and his execution squad to the billionaire Joshua Joyce and his corporation. I forgot the acronym, but it's like a 3-letter acronym.
Like FRI or something like that.
There's an I in there, I'm pretty sure.
Some acronym.
Then we're reintroduced, or maybe we are introduced, I don't remember, to Joshua Joyce, who is he's like an Elon Musk-esque high-profile inventor with an attitude and temper, and he's like a dweeb. Which reminds me very
much so of like a less entertaining version of John Malkovich from the last movie.
Yeah, he's meant to be.
I love Stanley Tucci. Don't get me wrong, but he's in this movie a little too much.
Yeah, he's in this movie. He's not in this movie for most of the first third, and he's really prevalent in the last third. He's kind of there in the middle. He's meant to be a main character, and he's meant to be. Like I said, we had 2 villains at the beginning. Now we have a third villain. Essentially, third antagonist at least, who's like, oh, we gotta build Transformers and gotta get the Transformers. So while the Autobots are trying to figure out what the hell's going on, why lockdown's hunting us, whatnot. You see the perspective of Joshua Joyce and his Asian woman sidekick, which was no offense to the actress, because she did better than Mark Wahlberg, but she was just put in there so this movie could appeal to China. And once we get to the last,
her thing kind of bridges into them going to China, where they had the final action sequence.
It's possibly the most corporate thing I've ever seen in a movie like this, and it's why it made I think it made like $700 million in China alone.
That's so sad.
Something like that. Like, it was something
that's like the reason why these movies didn't like crash the box office.
This one made less domestically, but so much more overseas. It's not even
right. Wasn't also like the reason why the last one failed was because not as many it didn't like do it nearly as well in China as the last one.
This movie made over $1 billion. Transformers 5 made like $400 million.
I wonder why.
It's not just
I was like, all right, we'll support this really, really shitty movie, and you'll get $1 billion. But no, fourth one is the last straw. Fifth one, I'm good at.
No, we'll get into why. It's not just it's like an action movie that would do well in China. This movie literally panders. It actually,
it does.
Expresses pro-China sentiments within the movie. Deadass, I'm not
only to China salesmen is there this much Chinese propaganda.
Yeah, literally. China salesman's the whole movie. This is the last act, but it's still ridiculous.
Yeah.
But we get Joshua Joyce. The blonde sidekick woman is kind of there, and then you meet the bodyguard, and she's just the Asian action heroine.
Mm-hmm.
Which, why does a Transformer movie need that? I mean, I know why. We're talking about why, but he didn't need a bodyguard at all. Or better yet, just not have the fucking blonde woman and just have her from the beginning. Why not?
That would make more sense.
Cuts an extra piece of crap out of this 2 hour 40-minute movie.
Anyway, I want to talk about what he gets, or what they're trying to obtain with it. So they got the Transformium, the element from that make the Transformers. They're trying to make, as we said, they're trying to make their own Transformers and command them. But the CGI they use for the Transformium is really, really bad. When you see Stanley Tucci playing around with it in his hands, I was like, holy shit, this is TV. This is the Flash CW quality.
It's not only just the Flash bad, it's also a collection of brightly colored cubes, which I don't think any CGI can make look good. Really.
I know. Why did they decide to make that? I don't know. But yeah, it looks really bad.
They could have also just made it the amount of particle effects that have to go into any of the artificial Transformers is ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
Possibly, maybe not worse than the cost of making a character Transformer on screen, but still immense. If they just made it I don't know, it's just gonna sound stupid. What if they made it like lightning, a surge of lightning to mask the fucking stupid cubes? I don't know. It would have been cinematic at least.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Like you said, is something that no sane person would ever say, and any screenwriter would laugh at. But it's still better than what's in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I thought was kind of amusing, but also ended up being a total hunk of crap, because everything is that they keep trying to make Transformers out of these parts. You see a collection of specific character things. You see some parts of Sentinel Prime. I think you see some parts of Sideswipe. You see Megatron's head. It's Megatron's head. Wasn't that literally cut in half? Yes, it was.
I was thinking, thank God Megatron's gonna be in this. But I was like, oh wait, I remember you saying that Megatron's gonna be in this. So I did
threaten the idea of Megatron returning in this movie,
and but he did really, kind of for the most part.
Okay. So Megatron's head is just chilling. They just have it on a pedestal. Joshua Joyce is trying to make his own fake Optimus. And this is one of the strangest tiny plot, this whole plot point is pretty stupid, but one of the details that really baffles me is that, in the third movie, when he's all weak, he has his head exposed and you have the little tiny things in his head.
Right.
Those are what transfers his consciousness into the Galvatron drone. They made like a fucking CGI background aspect part of the plot. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
So Megatron, after being just mercilessly executed by Optimus Prime, gets to take over this body. And I like the line, like, I want it to look like Optimus Prime. Why does it keep looking like Megatron?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen.
Megatron is like his head is like 20 feet away, and it doesn't look like Megatron at all.
Yeah, well, I guess like it looks more so like Megatron Optimus Prime. It just looks like nothing.
It's an angular gray man, so I guess it looks kind of like Megatron. But his face is totally different. He's like a squat, like short king. He's like a manlet now. He's like a fucking arc reactor.
He's a giant like nuclear hole in his chest,
which is kind of cool. But I don't know why they did it. I guess that's why. I think that's why. It's because
it does look cool to 12-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean, also because you couldn't have a nuclear hole in your chest if you actually turn into something. Because where would the hole go?
Mm-hmm.
But you see, it's like he says Galvatron. And I'm like, oh my god, Galvatron?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I want, because like with or like in the same scene or like a scene later, we're introduced to the Bumblebee equivalent, which is his name is Sting.
The Stinger.
Yeah, Stinger. Which, okay, the name makes sense because Sting, Bumblebee. I was like, oh, what am I gonna name our version of Optimus Prime? Oh, I know, Galvatron. You know, that doesn't sound like another famous.
They literally has a one-off line like, it's made of galvanized. No, shut the fuck up. Just call it like Optimus, like perfected or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, if you're ripping it off that much, but like you see, there's two very strange things. There's a cameo. I forgot his fucking name. There's a random YouTuber cameo.
He's like the guy I noticed it. Like, I didn't know who it was, but I did like notice like this is really weird and out of place. I completely forgot who it was though.
It's like an influencer. I don't remember who it is. It's not. Oh shit! I don't. 2014.
Don't harp on it.
But also behind him is a picture of a full render of Optimus Prime as a flat-nosed truck with his original color scheme from the first 3 movies. Someone made a drawing of Optimus Prime, what he should look like in the first 20 minutes of this movie, and it's like in the background. It's like just another baffling thing.
Maybe like concept art or something?
Probably.
Yeah.
The concept art for Optimus Prime, like the new Optimus, looked totally different as well. He's like all gray, even though he's still a blue it's nonsense. It's fucking nonsensical. But so it's like, oh man, Megatron's a villain. So we've met the first 2 villains who like aren't the best characters, but at least we get like what they represent. Then we get properly introduced to a third villain who's like part of the story, makes the most sense, but is also disconnected from any of the movie's themes.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the same scene, it's obvious to anyone that we're being introduced to another villain that's Megatron again.
Yeah.
So you have 4 fucking villains. Pretty much.
Yeah, 4 villains.
So,
that is an absurd amount, even for the nearly 3-hour movie that it is. And we don't ever fully get immersed into any of them. We don't like to hate any of them. They're just like really poorly made.
Tucci's pretty fun to hate in this movie.
Yeah, he becomes more of like a protagonist toward the end of it.
He does. I didn't want to say anything, but he does have a side flip near the end. He realizes the error of his ways, his hubris overcomes him, and he joins the crew as like he becomes the comic relief.
Mm-hmm.
He is the only character that makes jokes, which is really weird.
Yeah,
it's like an hour and a half in, and we're introduced to comic relief. The Autobots were on screen before the comic relief. That's how backwards this is.
It's a backwards movie.
So the Autobots go, oh, this guy Joshua Joyce is dealing with lockdown to make Transformers. Let's go to Chicago.
Yeah, and let's fucking break into their build. Literally, and by break I mean quite literally break into their building.
Yeah.
And threaten his life.
Directly. And It's like it showed Optimus Prime dealing with the like, they killed my friends, Ratchet, Lightfoot, they'll pay for this. And then 10 minutes later, they're literally breaking in through the windows And it shows that Drift is like a helicopter, like helping the Autobots get to elevations. That's useful. It just makes it even sadder they didn't have any fucking flying Autobots besides Optimus.
I believe that's the only part of the movie where like his helicopter is actually like particularly useful.
Yeah, because the rest they make this, they just drop it in the movie very casually. He's the first of the triple changing characters, really, unless you count Megatron turning into a tank and a tank with wings. He's a man, a helicopter, and a Bugatti.
Yeah.
The thing about the triple changers and it's like it's obviously fucking implausible. There's no way like a car could be like in the original series. Even it was this guy who was a train and a space shuttle, and like how it transformed is he pretty much flipped over and there was like most of the other mode, which even in the animation made sense. But you see, it's not even a regular helicopter. It's like a personal helicopter, like a stealth helicopter. Where's the wheels? Where are the windscreens? Where's the engine? Where's the grill? Like, I know I shouldn't be asking this, but I'm gonna fucking ask it. I think you can't just do that. They do it in Bumblebee too.
Yeah, I think you're going above and beyond whatever the filmmakers thought the audience would think about this movie.
I'm sorry, but they break in, and then Optimus literally goes up like, "Where's Joshua Joyce? He needs to stop this right now." Like it's so. Like plainly executed, they just say we're gonna break in and kick his ass. They break in, they shoot. Rest in peace, Oreo Bot.
I completely forgot. It was like it's like the shit from the first movie, like the Mountain Dew Bot.
Like that was made by the Allspark. This is they made an Oreo transformer themselves, which makes it funnier.
Was there a toy for the Oreo transformer?
No, please. Stop. There's no Oreo Bot toy. There are dispense store toys, but there's no Oreo Bot toy.
Damn.
I'm sorry to say. But he's like, no, please stop. And then Crosshairs just fucking lights his ass up. Like, rest in peace, King. Again.
Gone from us too soon.
Like this movie, as we'll see, has egregious product placement. This movie is 80% Budweiser, but Oreo Bot is pretty funny. Like
it's really
the
funny.
idea of humans making an Oreo transformer is hysterical, and I love that.
I mean, like if an Oreo transformer was gonna like shoot Oreos into my mouth, I mean, I wouldn't say no to that.
I mean, if he has some milk, then I'd be up for that. But. Like my profile picture of Joshua Joyce.
That transforms to a cow.
Jesus. But they break in, and then Joshua Joyce just says, "Why are you here? We've already won." And the only line I remember is like, "We don't need you anymore." It's like, oh, it's setting up a thing where they need them. It's like the third and second movies. Like, good one. You really. Fool me once. Actually, you didn't. Don't fool me once. Shame on you. Don't fool me twice. Shame on you. Don't fool me 3 times. Shame on you. You failed every time.
Mm-hmm. I think we like around after that. Like, I think this was the part where like the main like quote unquote comedic relief scene with like when Bumblebee meets Stinger. And
yeah, they're in the facility. Oh no, it's right before that. Wait,
was it before? Whatever.
Yes, it was right before that. Actually, yeah. They break into we missed an entire scene. There's a scene where they go into a showroom. Bumblebee's there in his like original Camaro design. Mm-hmm. There's like the presentation on Stinger, which is so absurd and dumb that it is kind of funny. He's like Bumblebee, but better in every way.
And like, oh, Bumblebee fucking sucks. Like he has a terrible design.
We were talking about terrible design, but we've gone at length to show how fucking shitty he is. The first movie, once again, his legs blown off, getting captured. Second movie, third movie, I mean, taken prisoner. Like he really is terrible, but it's not because of his design. It's because he's just bad at everything.
Yep.
So he sees this. It's also in the showroom. They haven't like turned it on, so it's essentially just a statue. He pushes it over, and he's interacting with it like it's alive. It's not, and I don't know, something like
it's just a human-controlled thing. That, at least at that point in the movie.
And then they get out of there. Then he scans the non-existent concept Camaro and looks exactly like Stinger. Because, yeah, why not?
Yeah, because he's just better in every way.
And then they break in. They break in after he becomes the new car. I remember that. This is all in Chicago.
Right.
And then there's like they have another Chicago. Was it Chicago?
Yes, I think.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I just realized it makes no sense. Go to 5. 5 is most continuity.
Is it Chicago? I mean, the beginning movie takes place in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm assuming it's Chicago. If it's different, if it's Freedom City or if it's Mission City or something, I won't be surprised either.
I miss Mission City so much, which actually was Chicago. But just for shut up. There's this whole action scene where they have There's some drones. I don't remember why there's drones. I just watched the movie today. I don't remember why that scene happened. Bumblebee flies one of the ships from the third movie. Like exactly. Wait, no, that's way later in it. Where the fuck am I?
I think the one after that was like the car chase, but with the human-made Transformers, right?
I remember that.
And that's when we were like really introduced to the Transformium technology.
Yeah, you see
or
the
instead of actually,
Galvatron.
this is like one of the most like is like probably one of the laziest things, or like obviously laziest things they've done in the movie. Where instead of having actual transformations, which granted I know take a lot of like CGI work and artistry, they just make them like fucking like go into like this. I don't even know how to describe it. I describe it as CGI noise. Like these like particles just like
the intros
buzz across the screen.
The Paramount logo noises for all these movies. It's just like that.
Yeah, well, it's a Paramount logo, and then it transforms into a car or whatever. They transform into. I
just don't remember when the fucking air chase happened.
The air chase?
Was that when they broke in?
Was that when they went into the alien spaceship?
Yes, they have one of the Decepticon spaceships from the third movie, but I can't remember why.
But he just shows up at the end of that action scene for some reason. With
doesn't Brains own it?
Does Brains own it? No, I don't think so.
He had one in the third movie. That was the last time we saw him. Was that it? Damn,
no.
I feel bad. I'm doing a bad job at summarizing this, but I literally just blanked out on when an action scene happens.
It was whatever. Wait. I give up. I'm not. Point is, like these action scenes are pretty bad, at least in comparison to the. Because I would say the action scenes for the other movies, well, they're definitely inconsistent. They're at least like fairly well made. These ones are like quite shitty in comparison.
Very generic.
Yeah. Very generic.
Yeah, when they're having the ship chase in Chicago, that's when Mark Wahlberg crashes the Decepticon ship into the Budweiser truck, and then the guy's like, "You better have insurance, pal."
Yeah, the most blatant Budweiser advertising I've ever seen.
Ship. I'm literally 40 minutes in the future. Holy fuck! This movie just. Yeah, that's when he has the alien gun. That means
they're all the same. They're all the same.
Okay, I got it. I remembered how the movie went. They break into the place, the M whatever. They break out. That's when they sick Galvatron and Stinger. That's the car chase.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you properly meet Galvatron because he transforms and he immediately just like suplexes a car. Or he elbow drops a car. I mean, it's like why is he doing that? And then Optimus Prime is fighting him, and I like audience reaction. He pulls out one of the fucking orange swords, and I'm like, whoa!
The first and only time he does in the movie, by the way,
because he gets like a real sword. Which is dumb as fuck. But when I saw the orange sword, I was super hyped. Like the orange swords are more of a character than any Autobot.
The orange sword Optimus Prime has.
Like, Linda, are you gonna disagree with that? They're in more movies. They have more like the orange sword in the first movie, the 2 in the second movie, the orange hooks. In the third movie, there's the orange axe and the orange handheld sword. They get some serious development, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But in this, he pulls it out, and he goes to this thing like, "You have no soul." And then all of a sudden, the Galvatron drone just goes, "That is why I have no fear." It's like, oh my god, that's fucking Frank Welker, bro. It's like,
so Frank Welker, like, I don't want to say replaces Jeremy Irons because he's technically playing a different character, but it is still Megatron.
Hugo Weaving, you mean?
Did I say Jeremy Irons?
Jeremy Irons.
I made a severe lapse in my judgment. Yeah, it is Hugo Weaving. My bad.
Jeremy Irons should be Megatron.
I don't know why. I guess like I don't know why I confused it. Maybe just because they're both like
people.
They're not somewhere else. I severely apologize. It's Hugo Weaving, who has played Megatron in the first 3 movies. And in this one, it's Frank Welker, who plays Galvatron / Megatron.
Sort of, like, he, obviously, original Megatron voice. Megatron in plenty of the shows. Or not plenty. Actually, only 1 or 2 of the shows after that. But he gets to play, like, this Megatron homunculus. He's not even really him.
Yeah, I mean, he does a pretty good job.
He incinerates Optimus Prime's iconic orange sword. And it's like, oh, fuck. Well, that's gone. Like, with his interior combustion hole. You know? Yeah. And then they have like a little fight. It lasts like 5 seconds, and then you see in the background some giant evil ship. Like, oh wow! And then Lockdown jumps out, and then his face turns into a gun. Earlier, it turns into a camera, I believe. Now it's like a
camera.
Something. He has like a heads-up display, and before it's a gun, I think. I think it's a mask. I know some of the toys had it for no reason to sell toys, but. So his face turns into a gun in front of our very eyes, and he just fucking shoots a hole in Optimus. And he's fine. Like, that was one of the... Back to that Super Bowl trailer. Once again, I just think first impressions are key. In that original teaser, it shows the shot of Optimus Prime getting a fucking hole blown in him. That would... In the other movies, that would have just killed him.
I like how in all of the trailers and like ads for these movies. I specifically remember this with 5 because I do remember seeing a lot of ads for that when that movie was coming out. They made these movies look like the biggest cinematic events in history, like with Transformers like are actually characters with like huge developments. Because I remember like when they made like Bumblebee or Optimus Prime evil or whatever in the 5th movie, or like Imperial Rifle, like, holy shit, this is a big deal. But like, no, these are so stupid, and they're all the same. But this is even worse than the same.
But so Optimus Prime is shot in the chest 2 times. A fucking hole is blown. He's fine. He's taken prisoner by Lockdown. Then the other Autobots and Cade Yeager and Tessa Yeager and Shane. Did I get him?
Yeah, I got him. Yeah,
nice. They're like, oh crap, what do we do? So what do? They break onto Lockdown's ship to bring back Optimus. That's like a nice like Saturday morning cartoon plot. Optimus has been captured.
I thought I would enjoy that part more, but like it's still very tedious and uninteresting. The only like actual big development that happens on that ship is that Mark Wahlberg gets his like iconic alien sword gun.
What I also like about that weirdly enough, it's something I didn't like in the original series even, but I do kind of like it here, is the idea that it's more than just Transformers. Lockdown has like normal aliens.
Yeah, there was that weird scene with Tessa where she was getting like quote unquote attacked by that alien
tongue monster.
Like I was like, what the fuck is this?
No excuse.
Yeah.
I mean, things like that I'm okay with, because it's just like the original series. The entire 3rd season was like ridiculous dumb shit aliens. It was barely even Transformers. Not barely even, but like the villains were mostly things like that. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now, but I appreciate them trying to do something different by bringing that in. But then the first thing it does is it's like sensually grab the 17-year-old. No thanks, buddy.
Yeah, that's fucked up. This evil alien with no personality is pretty fucked up.
Hey, he's almost as fucked up as Jack Rayner's
Shane,
character.
Yeah.
He's Irish, but his accent is horrible. He drives cars, but he has low confidence, and he constantly tells Cade how he wants to make love with and fuck his daughter in front of him candidly, and expects him to be okay with it.
Yep.
That's his character.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but really, Cage is the victim here with Shane and this little quote unquote father son relationship they develop. Where because like eventually he's like, oh, we know it's okay that you're together, but I'm like, fuck Cade, buddy, you were right in the beginning. Don't let this 20-year-old have sex with your 17-year-old daughter.
It's like the opposite of Armageddon.
Yeah.
There's a worse development than Armageddon.
Oh,
God. I miss Armageddon.
I can't believe I miss Armageddon. Right? And I can't believe it's shorter,
Steve Buscemi in that.
Yeah.
Well, Steve Buscemi is in something Transformers, at least.
Is he?
So, yeah, I'm not telling you what.
Oh, is he in Last Night?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's in the trailers. I forgot about that. They always resort to violence. I fucking sorry. God, the line burns in my brain. But so they go to rescue Optimus. All the Autobots are like, these things are ugly. Let's get them out. And then they break on their side ship. And I think the side ship is that Optimus breaks out on that, and they break out on a Decepticon ship from like the third movie. That's how that scene happens.
Right.
Because they're fighting Lockdown's goons. I remember how that goes now. Oh yeah, because the humans land on a building, and then there's like the wolves, like the hounds.
Yeah, they climb on the wire or whatever.
Yeah, that's the Chicago like skyline. Okay, I got the order right. Thank God.
Yeah, we finally know the order of events that happened in a movie that we both saw a few hours ago. Yeah.
It's just that ridiculous. But they bring back Brains, and he gets to exposition dump. Because you see, when you hear a guy that looks like Megatron and sounds like Megatron, that Joshua Joyce says is like Megatron, Brains has to go to the Autobots and the audience saying like, you killed. I'm trying to do the voice. I like doing the shitty impressions. You killed Megatron, but that head was not as dead as we thought. And he transferred his consciousness to their weird contraption and took it over. He's gonna
kind of a somehow Palpatine returned moment.
It is comparably stupid. At least that's funny, okay? Somehow Palpatine return is funny. This is not funny. This is just dumb.
Yeah, very dumb.
But so also, why did they make Brains the exposition guy? He's now like an amputee. Yeah. He was in and also we've got to mention in the third movie when he crashes the ship with Wheelie, he's not seen again. There's like 30 minutes of the movie before it ends, and you don't see him. So I guess this is his the end of his character arc. I guess, which was nothing, by the way, no character arc. So they bring him to a ship. I didn't realize. They bring him to a shipyard, and he's like, "Oh well, I already told you guys what I needed to. I'm living. I'm free as a bird," and he just fucking leaves.
Yep,
he just lives his life. Like, see you later. Like he's gone. Mm. And then for some reason, another line that's burned into my brain about this movie is when the 8 plots converge. Drift says Joshua Joyce is headed to his facility in Guangzhou, China. I don't know why that's so funny to me, because how would he know exactly where it is?
Because it's the most because it's the most obvious plot, or is the most obvious plot dump that will get you to the third act of the movie, which takes place in China.
Joshua Joyce has headed to his facility in Guangzhou, China.
Yeah.
It doesn't explain why.
I believe also this is right before the big final action scene, which final action as in over an hour action, by the way.
Yes.
They have they replaced oh my god, what was it? They replaced Linkin Park in the last 3 movies with Imagine Dragons in this movie, and
the thing is, sorry, you go ahead.
I feel like the Linkin Park songs, while they're they weren't that great. They kind of fit the tone of the movie.
Music, exactly.
Yeah, but this is just and also they didn't play it. They used it sparingly throughout the movie. Usually, I think it was mostly just during the credits. But in this movie, they kept playing Imagine Dragons songs throughout.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
It had several pivotal scenes, and I was just
I thought you were talking about the Linkin Park. Okay, they only use Linkin. They use Linkin Park. Actually, the first movie, it's played once. Second movie, it's part of the score. And the third movie, it's part of one scene.
Right.
And this movie is part of 3 scenes.
Yeah, and very pivotal scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, pivotal scene like Cade Yeager watching Jack and Tessa asleep, and he's like, yeah, fine, I'll let him go, even though Jack Rayner's character is a fucking rapey weirdo. He's it's just anti-development, again, like you were saying. when you hear that, because the Imagine Dragons song it's like 30 seconds of like serene, like, ooh. So like they use that part for the somber scene. At the end of the movie, they use the part where the guy just fucking screaming because I don't know. I guess in Linkin Park they screamed a little bit
because they couldn't pay Steve Bombshley one more cent to write any more music for this movie.
No, I guess any more than he did because he did write an entirely new soundtrack.
Yeah, it's like, hey, buddy, you need to write a song for the final action scene. He's like, no, I'm done.
Let's just use this Imagine Dragons song I heard on the radio the other day. It's kind of like a worse version of Kung Fu Panda 3. You know?
Yeah.
Incorporating Imagine Dragons.
That's a pretty good comparison.
But that was incorporated into the villain's theme. This is just, it plays when cool things need to happen.
Yeah.
So now, the final act of the movie begins. And it's like halfway into the movie.
Yeah, it's like there's still well over an hour left.
Absolutely.
This is when I guess Megatron gains sentience in Galvatron, and like poetry, like I said in the beginning, like how Megatron said, "I am Megatron." In the first movie, he says, "I am Galvatron" when he introduces himself in this movie.
Galvatron. Yeah, it's pretty raw, but once again, it was like nostalgic for the first movie when he said that, and it was still stupid, and it's still stupid.
Yeah, and he gains sentient. No, he gives like 50 Transformers sentience to like join him.
He doesn't give them sentience. He just controls them.
Oh, okay.
No. It's not like they're all supposed to be on the corporations. Like they're supposed to be able to control them, but Galvatron is the leader, so he controls the drones. Does it make sense? Not really, but that's what it is.
Okay.
Technically, his consciousness pervades all of the Viacons.
Is that what they're called? Viacons?
Yeah, normally that's what newer series call like the Decepticon jobbers, but now they're called that because they're vehicle Decepticons. It's something. But so Galvatron becomes sentient. Lockdown is like, oh, they stole stuff from my ship. Because by the way, the whole time Lockdown's goons are going after the humans and is sending in the hounds, he's just sitting in his fucking like captain's chair, like go fucking himself, just like nothing. And then he's like, oh, I guess I have to be part of the movie again. So then he goes to, well, Joshua Joyce heads to his facility in Guangzhou, China, and then heads to Hong Kong. The scene in Guangzhou, China is to further emphasize that there is a Chinese actress in the movie, which I'm thinking back, I liked her character the most of all these characters. She's not like
she was competent.
Asshole.
Yeah.
She was competent. She was like kind of nice. She was like a comical over-exaggeration of what a
probably the nicest character in this movie.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe Galvatron. Her and Galvatron are up there.
Oh yeah, I really relate to Galvatron's plan in this.
You know what he wanted to do? He wanted to have friends, and I feel him for that. Because the humans want the seed, so no evil stuff happens. Galvatron wants the seed to make a bunch of Viacons. Lockdown wants the seed because it was his.
Something like that.
Like he's reclaiming it. So it's like a 3 or ultimately it would initially 4, then 3 because Stanley Tucci, as I said, flips sides. Battle for this plot device. But normally it's only 2 sides. It's the Autobots and Decepticons, but they had to make it more complex because, of course, more time in the movie.
This is a new saga for Transformers. They have to make it deeper.
Yeah, make it deeper by making a green man with a trench coat.
Yeah.
That really fucked with me. How does he have a trench coat?
I don't know.
Does the car become
maybe
fabric?
It's impressive that they can make a metal man look like they have a trench coat made of metal. I don't know.
Is it made of car?
Maybe Metal Man just thought it looked cool. That was probably what happened.
That's definitely why, but that really fucks with me. Because is it the fabric on the seats?
I don't.
Or is it
think
metal?
So. I think it's metal.
Because Hound's stupid beer belly is made of, you can tell it's made of something, like parts. But Crosshair just has a coat. It's just really especially baffling. Like we were confused as to why they have like beard guts and beards. Now we're beyond that. Why do they have coats?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
I get it, and it ruined all of his toys too because they had to have rubber like coat pieces that would fucking get cold, and like it didn't work. It's just a shit from start to finish. Speaking of finish, and speaking of shit, they end up in Hong Kong. That's where 90% of the movie takes place. Just kidding, it's where half the movie takes place. And it just begins in, like, the third movie, action begins in Chicago. Decepticons blow up the city. Autobots and, like, humans roll in. Autobots roll in. Human support rolls in. That's the series of events. In this, it's Autobots go to Hong Kong. They wait for lockdown to come to Hong Kong. They also wait for the Viacons to come to Hong Kong. So it's just a shit ton of waiting.
And then, like, half of the Autobots, like, wait for Optimus Prime to, like, deal with, like, the fucking dinosaur transformers.
Yeah,
so they can bring them there.
Okay. Because of his time imprisoned on the ship, he sees these large, hulking creatures, these armor. It's set up like, oh, these guys are real fucking big and scary. And that ship crash lands somewhere into the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. And you see it opens up and you just see a bunch of like knights in armor, spiky and angular. I think the designs for the Dinobots in robot modes are fine. I like them. Like they're not obviously human. You can tell there's like weird monster parts.
They're fine. What confused me was like how like they had like the Transformers form, but they were just like, but they were still dinosaurs. Like I guess that makes sense because of the transformium that went into them that turned them into Transformers. I don't fucking know. This movie's stupid as hell.
Allow me to attempt to reason with this. They were ancient knights of some random guild that scanned the mummified remains of the dinosaurs from the beginning of the movie. I don't know when that would have happened, but it's the only explanation I have.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there's one thing that one of the stupidest lines. Oh, I forgot my favorite line. We got to go back for a sec. I'm sorry. When Optimus is captured by Lockdown, this isn't even that far back. I mean, it's like, it's like 30 minutes back. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like 10 hours back. Lockdown captures him, and he's like talking shit, obviously. He's like, I'm taking you as a trophy, Optimus. And he just goes out of fucking nowhere. You think you were born? No, you were built, and your creators want you back.
I say that whole plot point, like I figure they were built, I guess, because they're robots, not sentient things. But like that makes the whole like lore of the Transformers like in this franchise at least way more confusing and way more unnecessarily complicated. It's basically like the Kingdom Hearts of the film series of cinema.
5 is the Kingdom Hearts. You're not ready for 5 then.
Yeah, this is so it's so convoluted and so many I'll say this once, I'll say it again. If these movies were just like 90-minute, CGI action fests, like without like too much exposition, they'd be fine. Like I wouldn't be mad at them. Even like 2 hours, even like if it's like a 2-hour movie, I would be fine. These movies drag so much with so much unnecessary plot exposition, so much unnecessary bullshit that I can't help but hate them so much.
Well, just a brief point. You were like, "Oh man, them being built complicates their origin." Well, yeah, it does, because in the second movie, it's shown that Decepticons are born. So Lockdown is fucking lying.
Oh my, yeah, it does. It literally contradicts itself.
He's just... Well, okay, that's the first of the continuity. The first of several. The fifth movie has the most continuity errors of any movie I've ever seen. In its universe. There's more that doesn't make sense than does make sense in that movie. It was also written by like 12 people. But let's not talk about the fact it was written by 12 people. This movie's written by like 2, and it still sucks balls. These knights, these ancient folks, the Dinobots, as they are ultimately regarded, they walk out. They're ominous. They're quite tall. They're mostly gray with like the slightest crumb of color, which was always funny to me. So when they released the toys, they're like fucking Power Rangers. They're like bright colors. I'll after the fact I'll send some pictures.
But then it would look unrealistic in this very realistic world
where there is a robot man with metal pecs turns to a flaming truck with 6 exhaust pipes, 6 pipes. But they're like, "Yo, what the hell are you doing, man?" Like, they're obviously a little shell shocked from being freed from God knows how long. And then Grimlock first turns into, they all turn into dinosaurs. Grimlock turns into his T-Rex, and Drift says the unintentional funniest thing in the movie, which I think was supposed to be funny, but wasn't, but was. It's like, "I was expecting a giant car."
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I let out like
I'll give you a bone. That's like that's kind of playing on the stupidity of the series. I'm okay with that. I mean, there's as many car parts on the Dinobots as there are on Drift, so I think it's fine.
Also, this is a really funny line that Optimus says. Like, I think once he quote unquote tames the T-Rex bot.
I was going to talk about this.
Yeah, "You're going to help our family or die," as he almost slits his neck.
That's not the funniest part. That's a funny line, but when they turns into T-Rex and rushes Optimus, he says, "We're giving you freedom!" Smacks him in the face, rolls over 5 times, explodes 3 times, 10 seconds after says, "Help my family or die." He literally fucking backtracks 10 seconds later.
They're free, though. But you're going to help us or you will die.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing in the whole movie, I think, is that. But so they tame the Dinobots and they start wreaking havoc. And actually, this movie generally sucks. I think the scenes where the Autobots and Dinobots are just kind of rampaging through the city is pretty good. You know, you see it's like Drift is like slicing people up. Optimus. Also, she has a sword and shield by this point because he's like a knight or something.
I guess.
Lockdown's like, "You're one of my knights." Like, that, what? How? He wasn't a knight. Why? He was a prime. But he has a shield. Okay, he has like a real sword, like a big old claymore, instead of an iconic orange sword. And he has a shield.
The orange sword, by the way, gone too soon.
He has, rest in peace. I mean, actually, it lasted 7 years. I think that's pretty impressive. That's longer than almost every Autobot. It's longer than Bumblebee's legs.
True.
But he has a shield that's like shaped like a fucking penis that has a shotgun barrel in the end. Like, what is that?
Unknown.
It's like so confusing. And there's one thing in that initial scene where they're destroying the Viacons, they're rampaging through, Grimlock's like breathing fire on him, and he jumps really far in the air and throws his sword, and it looks just like, he's like using momentum. That moment, I think, is supposed to set up that Optimus Prime can fly. Because
doesn't he fly at the end of the movie?
He literally, in the ship, he grabs the big old sword. You see his arms very slightly change, and his boots very slightly change. And then the next scene, it shows him jumping like 50 feet. I think that moment was supposed to indicate that he can fly. How fucking stupid is that?
I mean, like, I don't know why they really just set that up, like in such a subtle way, considering that, like, yeah. He just does it. When he picks up a sword,
he just changed a tiny bit, like his gloves get a little more angular. That's it. Like, it's so pointless. But it's meant to be this, like, I guess it, in retrospect, is like a big thing. But it's no attention drawn to it. So the Dinobots are released, and then that's when Lockdown fully appears. And you see his ship, and this is the big trailer thing. Is that, in the second movie where there was a giant vacuum made of construction cars or construction vehicles? Yeah. Lockdown ship has a big magnet. And that's the rest of the action in this movie, besides the final confrontation, is just Lockdown pulling things up and dropping them. for like 25 minutes. Most of the human characters are in a car. Stanley Tucci, Jack Rayner, Mark Wahlberg. I think the Asian lady as well. I don't even remember where the fucking daughter is. Maybe she's there too. I don't or care.
I don't know. She kind of just leaves for like a good chunk of the movie until like the very final scene.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, there's also that elevator scene. Remember, like with Stanley Tucci, where he's like was talking to that random guy who was also good at kung fu, I guess.
Oh yeah, there's a fucking like full on Hong Kong action with random Samaritan who just
like a John Woo movie
shit out of someone, which is pretty funny.
Yeah,
but it's so like this movie is just so baffling.
Yeah.
Like,
also, the good milk box scene that is your profile.
He's on a building. This is actually around. I think we're at the same time because that's because he's drinking it. He looks up. He sees the ship.
Right.
Which is weird because it looks like a very similar brand of milk to the one that Deep Wang had. I wonder if that's supposed to be a continuity thing. Never mind. I'm kidding. That was joking. I'm joking. I'm seriously joking.
No, you got me thinking about it now.
Continuity and dude, Transformers 5 has the worst. Once again, 5 is. Once you see that, you will never look at continuity the same way. If a movie can go from something to something else so effortlessly. But we're at the magnet, they're all in a car, and then there's a trailer. Oh my god!
Right.
He has to say that's the trailer. Also, I guess because we're going between the big magnet and the action scene in the hallway, that's when the Asian lady and the random Samaritan are beating up fucking random Black Ops guys that had been sent by what's his face, Kelsey Grammer, and then there's the one F-bomb, and that was the only the first time I saw all these movies, that was the only one I noticed because I'm stupid. But it is, I think all of them but one have an F-bomb in them.
Huh.
Second one, Michaela says it. I didn't know that until I watched it for this. Third one, John Malkovich says it. Pretty obvious. And this one's like, how do you tell them to get the fuck out of the way in Chinese?
Oh right, the Asian, the elderly Asian women, right?
Yeah, which is it's a staple in Michael Bay movies.
Yeah, there are a lot of
crossing the street,
like them just getting in the way. Also, like the hair salon stuff.
Second movie, there was the guy having his dinner in the building that was destroyed. Like it's just a bunch of things. I wonder if Michael Bay sees Asian people as like a curiosity. It really feels like it. And in this movie, they were like, you have. Oh, there's also a scene somewhere in the climax where it's like, we have to cut. Like you see a random fucking Chinese man, and it says like Hong Kong government or whatever. Like it says something like official. It's like we need to call the central government for help. And it's literally just like the CCP. Like that's it. Like there's no reference. There's no relevance besides. This is showing that China has this doomsday scenario under control, even though the Autobots do. So there's just a ton of the Autobots fighting, like right before and during the point where the dinosaurs are there. Like Hound takes out like a couple hundred of them. Good for him. Like I do like that he's just pulling out weapons left and right. He's got a chain gun, he's got shotguns, he's got pistols. Then he runs out of ammo. He runs out of ammo. He takes his cigar and he shoots it into someone's head.
Oh my god, yes!
Which is my favorite. My favorite. All these movies have completely random background Decepticons. This movie has mostly new background Decepticons, but one, my favorite character. One of my favorite characters. It is known as the two-head unit. It is literally a guy with two shockwave heads. For no reason.
That's. I wish I noticed that. I gotta look it up now.
I'm pretty sure that was when. That's what I'm saying. Is when Hound shoots his cigar, he kills one of these guys who have two heads. He would have been fine, but it's like it's not the most tense, but it's like he's running out of ammo. They're overwhelming him. It's like a fairly standard like action movie scene. Or this character we've never met.
I see it. Oh my god! Yeah, it's like a fucking Oh my god! What are they called? Like the dragons with like multiple heads.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a Hydra. It's like a Hydra.
Yeah, it's this two-head unit. That's what he's known as in the concept art. I love him. My favorite. But there's also the point where Hound is fighting off the Decepticons or Viacons or whatever the fuck they're called. Who cares?
I don't.
The marketing had a bunch of Decepticon symbols. You know how many Decepticons there are in this movie? 0.
One if you count Megatron, I guess, / Galvatron. That's it.
Kind of. He's like an honorary Decepticon, I guess. But the humans are trying to hide the seed, and it like they accidentally like prime it for detonation, and there's like a huge scene where it's like, oh, I don't want to touch that thing. Oh, no, it was a grenade. Hound has a grenade. It's like,
the comically large grenade.
Yeah. The Transformer-sized grenade, and they throw it at a single vehicle. It's going to be like, oh, silly giant grenade hijinks. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is so bad. Like, with this Auto Transformers action in the last half, the little snippets of it are fine. When there's I think about that time, the rampage of the Dinobots happens. Bumblebee is riding. Speaking of 2 heads, there's a pterodactyl with 2 heads. I don't know why. Again, 2 heads equals more cool, I guess. Bumblebee rides the 2-headed pterodactyl and decapitates the Stinger. So their quote-unquote rivalry is just dispelled, in like a split second, which is great. It wasn't, like, I don't know. They keep trying to give Bumblebee rivals, like Barricade, Soundwave, now Stinger, and it's like, why? They're all fucking fighting each other. Does it matter?
No, not really.
I mean, like, why do they keep doing it then? So there's also one of the most interestingly bad sequences is Cade Yeager has a fist fight with the guy that was trying to arrest him earlier in the movie, the guy with the glasses. We just have a fist fight in a Hong Kong apartment, and the conclusion of the fight is the most incredible callback in all cinema, where he finds in someone's house a football, and he fucking spirals it into his head, which knocks him off like a 10-story building.
Yup.
It's because he threw a football at TJ Miller. That's like the funniest shit. That's like Perry level good. Like that's something they would put in Pain and Gain.
Oh, it's so bad.
But it's oh my god. And then the very end, like Lockdown finally decides, like, I've had enough of the vacuuming shit. Like, we would describe what happens with the magnet, but it's literally just things get lifted, things get dropped, things get lifted. Like the Dinobots get lifted, you see them waggling their little dinosaur feet. It's kind of funny. I mean, they're pretty big dinosaur feet, but like proportionately speaking. And then the final battle begins, where Optimus Prime's fighting Lockdown, who I guess is the main villain. I don't fucking... Is there a main villain? No. So Optimus is fighting Lockdown, and it's a long, meandering, nonsensical, like, fist fight. And then all of a sudden, Kelsey Grammer shows up and has a fight with Kate at the same time. So it's like, the robot villain and the human villain are both fighting the human protagonist and the robot protagonist. Like, something like that. And there's a huge... random, and like sometimes you'll see random shots, like Lockdown shoots at Optimus in an explosion. And an explosion will like hit near where Cade's fighting. Also, my favorite like goof, whatever you want to call it, in this movie. I mean, the camera is great. I should have made this my profile picture. There's one point, and I need you to watch this if you didn't notice it again.
Okay.
I'll bring it on stream after the fact. While Cade is like ducking while Optimus and Lockdown are fighting, you see a completely unrelated unknown man in the frame, the front of the frame, like the forefront of the shot.
Oh,
it's not Kelsey Grammer. There's a random fucking man in the middle of the like the final battle.
Interesting.
It's awesome. I hope that man has a Wikipedia page. After this, I'll just pull the clip up. So Optimus is fighting Lockdown. It's kind of tied, and then Lockdown stabs Optimus directly in the chest, which once again should probably kill him instantly. But Optimus Prime has like Omega plot armor. I guess that's why he doesn't have windows. If he had windows, he would have died. Now, so like Lockdown is like, Lockdown has a sword fight with Cade Yeager.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That was
that's pretty funny. Lockdown has a knife and Cade has his iconic sword gun, and he parries a She would just splatter him.
The sword gun is like the most overpowered weapon in like any piece of fiction I've ever seen.
Just you wait. But I know just you wait is not the right thing you want to hear, but just you wait. And then like Lockdown is just like still fighting Optimus. Oh no, it's before he gets impaled, I think. Yeah, it's before Optimus gets impaled. They're fighting. Kelsey Grammer is trying to lecture Cade about like, why would you side yourself with them? They have no soul. And Optimus Prime just fucking reaches out, blasts Kelsey, fucking evaporates him. It's like Optimus Prime just.
Well, to be fair, that was a callback to what happened in the beginning of like, the person who caused like the deaths of all these Autobots will pay. I will kill them. And he did. He did kill them.
He did what he said he would do. But it's funny that the culmination of Optimus Prime's arc is he learns to commit first-degree murder. like he's probably killed many humans accidentally. I mean, think of how many people were killed when he, was fighting Megatron in the buildings of Mission City. But he literally shoots like a human. That's fucked. I don't care if he's evil. Like that's just fucked to think of now. And then Lockdown stabbed him, and then Lockdown tries to fight Cade, and then that's when the music slows. Ooh.
Yeah, with more Imagine Dragons, thank fucking God.
Yeah, and then oh my God, Jack Rayner pulls up in like a tow truck, kind of like Michaela in the first movie. He hooks the sword out of Optimus's chest. He pulls it out. It flies in the air. Optimus catches it, fucking impales Lockdown, and bisects him from the waist up, like a full-on Mortal Kombat fatality.
Yeah, it was absolutely gruesome. Thank God these movies are robots, because this would be a hard R.
Usually it's like the horrible executions are just part of the scene. This was the point of the scene, is that Optimus Prime mutilates this guy.
Yeah. Just part of the charm.
It's part of his, literally part of his character, is that he's unrepentant murderer. It was a joke before. It is his character now by this movie. His arc is going from hating all humans to not hating the most hateable human of all, Cade Yeager. Just very believable and plausible. But then, the day is saved. Then there's something the end, like the end, the Optimus Prime speech. The first one, the only one. It's the lamest one ever. He's like, he meets up with all the Autobots and all the Dinobots. He turns to the Dinobots, who he said he's giving freedom, and then said will kill if they don't help his family. He just goes, you're free now. They just leave. They're just in Hong Kong. Yeah. They're fucking
there's these fucking dinosaur robots causing a rampage in Hong Kong.
Yeah, they're just gone. You let them go for no reason. They don't say join the Autobots and we will help you find you. No, fuck off.
Not something that would make sense.
And then a callback, because Cade is talking about soul, because that's like not the movie. He's like, that's his only idea of morality, is that people have souls, and you should not be angry at all humans because some humans have souls. And then Optimus is like, all of a sudden, I'm going to find my maker. When you look to the skies, imagine one of the stars as my soul. And then he fucking Supermans off into space, and he just leaves the Autobots there.
I bet there were plenty of hardcore Transformers fans who cried at that moment, because I did.
I mean,
very sad.
He just starts flying. He doesn't need his flight tech anymore. He can just fucking leave.
Yeah, but does he even need a truck transportation anymore if he can just fly?
I don't think you see him turn into a truck in any of these movies ever again.
Huh.
But seriously. I think he becomes a truck off screen in 5, but you never see him turn into one. Why would you? When you can fucking
don't need
fly.
It. He's just a metal. He's just like a metal Superman.
A metal man with a sword that can fly. He's not a transformer. And then and then when at the end of the movie, you just see Galvatron on a balcony, like, this isn't over, Prime.
Oh yeah. Awesome setup for the next movie.
Okay. This movie has
that's Transformers Age of Extinction. Awesome.
Transformers Age of Extinction. Yeah. I know it took ages to get through, but there's so much to traverse. It's already almost 3 hours, and it's the most confusing 3 hours the series has given us yet.
I think we can probably agree that this is Michael Bay's worst movie.
I agree, 100%. No, yeah.
I was thinking, like, is this or Pearl Harbor worse? And then I was thinking, at least Pearl Harbor had some, like, somewhat well-made scenes in the movie. It wasn't like...
It wasn't fun, but it made sense. Love
this
triangle,
makes zero sense.
Love triangle, stupid, trite, but logical for a bad romance movie. It's a bad action movie with everything else compromised.
It's a bad everything movie.
Literally.
It's like a nothing bagel.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the funny parts, the Oreo bot, the fucking Asian stereotype making a joke that he thought a dinosaur was going to be a car. Like Cade Yeager getting punched in the face. Like these are the highlights. The third movie ends with some amount of triumph. Like, oh, the Autobots defeated the Decepticons. Like, for real. This movie ends with not just sequel. Like, the first movie has sequel bait with Starscream going into space. Second movie has sequel bait because Megatron is like he gets to leave. This movie is sequel bait in the same way an episode of a TV show is sequel bait for the next episode. But the fifth movie is even further of a departure from this than this was with the other movies.
Yeah, fifth movie?
That's what I meant. Sorry, yeah. It's like worse than Rise of Skywalker levels of why is any of this happening.
Great. So looking forward to that.
Do you like the characters you met in this movie besides Cade?
Sorry, what?
Did you at any point feel like the characters in this movie besides Cade were someone you wanted to fall on an adventure with?
I felt like I wanted to never see any of these characters again.
Well, that's good luck, because I'm going to say every single Autobot gets less than 20 minutes of screen time in the next movie.
Even Optimus?
Optimus gets like 15.
Great.
It's Cade Yeager, a new character, Bumblebee, a fucking steampunk man, and Anthony Hopkins. You do not see the other Autobots for more than 20 minutes. You know who the villain is?
Anthony Hopkins?
No, I wish. I fucking wish. That would be so good. You know, do you know... Actually, the movie has like 3 villains again. Do you know who the secondary... Do you know who the third? Second? Do you
Tertiary?
Yeah, there's another like weird alien antagonist. There's a human antagonist. There's a robot antagonist. Do you know who the robot antagonist is?
Who?
Megatron.
Not Galvatron?
Oh, I did not stutter. Megatron.
Okay. You know what? We have a few weeks until we get to that. Before that, let's go through a couple of funny trivia facts that I found.
I just wanted to fuck with you. Okay.
Okay.
Like, Megatron. Just like think of that in like the week or whatever until we do fun.
Yeah.
Think of how that could happen.
God, I don't want to think about it. I'm Transformers free for the next like 2 weeks. Let's go over a couple of funny trivia facts that I found about this movie. So apparently, before Mark Wahlberg was offered this movie, Dwayne Johnson was actually offered the role of Cade Yeager, but he declined because of the scheduling conflicts with that Hercules movies he was in around the same time.
Oh God.
Which granted, in the grand scheme of things, might have been a better career choice.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make enough money, so.
Yeah, but like, what's a more hated movie, Transformers 4 or the Hercules movies that no one remembers?
But I mean, Mark Wahlberg was able to be in like Father Stew after this.
Yeah, if he was in Father Stew, that's all that matters. Another funny thing is that, so apparently T.J. Miller reportedly did not get along with Michael Bay on set.
Big shocker.
Sorry, what?
Big shocker.
Big shocker, yeah. So Miller compared to a very bipolar experience working with Bay, which once told Miller on set, or Michael Bay once told Miller on set, and I quote, "Nothing that you've said is funny, TJ. Not one thing at all. We hired you to be funny. There's 300 people here. None of them are laughing at you. Say something funny. I can still cut you out of the movie." I know, I relate to Michael Bay so hard in this, because TJ Miller...
is not funny.
It's two people who are assholes, but one asshole is more justified.
Oh, it's so bad. Yeah, those are the two big ones. Also, apparently 70 minutes of this movie was dedicated to action scenes. So, you know, take that as you will.
70 out of that's fucking almost
160 something.
Yeah, I think 160 is probably about right.
Yeah. Oh god, so bad. Anyway, that was Transformers: Age of Extinction. Yeah, quite shit. Very shit. Absolute shit. Probably Michael Bay's worst movie. I don't think much will top this or bottom this, if you will. So join us next week. Sorry, this one took a little longer to make. We're busy little boys, but join us next week when we talk about 13 Hours: The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Is that how you pronounce it?
I thought it was just called 13 Hours. Honestly,
that's a subtitle.
I also forgot this was between 4 and 5.
Yeah, I would probably say this is probably Michael Bay's most forgotten about movie, other than maybe Ambulance in a few years. But at the moment, this is his most forgotten about movie, probably. So, but I've heard some decent stuff about it. So, yeah, it might be okay.
Best case scenario, it'll be better than this. Any case scenario,
any season. Really. But yeah, join us next week for that. Thank you guys for watching or listening. I'm sorry if you heard like some like noise in the background because I live in a college dorm and most of the people who live near me are assholes. So,
and I'm sorry for going on insane tangents, but this is the kind of thing that this movie has been ripped to shreds by many people. But like, we're not above that. Like, there's just so much specific garbage. And you could say, oh, almost 3 hours, bad action, not funny. Okay, sure. But it's so much more than that. And hopefully 13 Hours will at least be a serviceable generic military movie. Like that, even if it sucks, it'd be a palate cleanser for this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Transformers 2 is a palate cleanser from this.
I would rather watch Transformers 2 so many more times than this.
God, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you next week. Yeah. See you guys later.
Yeah.